So I don't know about you, but hasn't it been nice that the sunshine has come out? Isn't it nice? It just makes you feel like spring might be on its way rather than we might not be stuck in winter forever. And yeah, I don't know about you, but snowdrops have come out in my garden, which is really nice. I'm beginning to see some more flowers and the leaves are coming through. But with the spring coming also comes all the creepy crawlies and the insects. They appear too. And today, we're going to look at one of those insects. So we're going to look at the ant. Before anyone argues with me that the ant isn't an insect, I looked it up. National Geographic say it is, and I feel that they know more than me. So if you have a problem with it, do feel free to email them and ask them. So yeah, we're going to look at this Bible verse that says, "Go watch the ants, you lazy person. Watch what they do and be wise. Ants have no commander, no leader or ruler, but they store up food in the summer and gather their supplies at harvest." Before we look a little bit closer at what that verse is about, we're going to do a quiz because I want to know what you know about ants. So before we get going, we need to just find out what you know about ants. So the first question is this. Ants can survive underwater. If you think it's true, oh, I didn't think this through with the microphone. Wait a minute. If you think it's true, I want a T. Or maybe, no, a thumbs up. Let's have a thumbs up. If you think it's true, thumbs up. If you think it's false, an X with your arms. Okay, so let's have a look. Most people, oh, we've gone true. Oh no, we've got a few X's. A few more brave people putting X's up. So it is true. They can survive for 24 hours underwater. Please don't go and catch them and test this. I think that would be cruel. But yeah, apparently they can because they have openings in their exoskeleton system that they can shut so that the water doesn't come into their system. It's all very clever. Right, what ants are pictured here? Are they fire ants, are they black ants, or are they field ants? Let's have a show of hands for fire. Black. Field. Well, do you know what? They are fire ants. I mean, it might not show beautifully, but oh yeah, look. So they are really, really beautifully brown on my picture here. They're just not as brown up there. But fire ants are named fire because they have a reddy browny colour. That's what makes them fiery. So the next one is ants can carry things that are up to 50 times their body weight. If you think it's true, thumbs up. If you think it's not, put a cross. Oh yeah, I'm impressed. You do know your ants, so they can. I'm not going to try carrying 50 times my body weight today. I don't think I'd manage. Well, I kind of was thinking about it, and I was a bit like, if I tried to pick up 50 people that were my size, I think I'd manage like maybe one, and that would be it. So they're quite impressive. Ants have lungs, true or false? So true, false with the cross. Thank you, Callum, showing me the cross there. Okay, they do not have lungs. They have tiny little tubes that allow oxygen to enter their body, and that's what they shut off when they're underwater. They are just able to shut them off. So there are 1 million ants living on the planet for every one human. Is that true or is that false? What do we think? Oh. So that is true. There are 1 million ants. So when you think maybe there's like 70 people in this room, that's 70 million ants. Okay, how many stomachs do you think ants have? Do they have 1, 2, 3, or 4? You can show me on your hands with your fingers. 1, I've got some 2s. Oh, lots of 2s and lots of 1s. 3, I think, at the back there. Okay, 4. 4 over here. So ants have 2 stomachs. They have 1 stomach for digesting food that they eat, and they have another stomach for storing food that they share with their colony and they distribute amongst their family. There are 12,000 species of ants living on the planet. True or false? It's quite a lot of species. Oh, everybody's going true. Oh, a couple of falses. So you're kind of both right, because there are 12,000 species, but scientists reckon there's about 20,000. They just haven't discovered them all yet. So there you go. Ants have ears. True or false? Do they have ears? Most people are saying false. Okay. Wait a minute. Who just said that? Who was it? Parker knows the answer.
They sense vibrations through their feet.
They do. There you go. Ants can be found everywhere in the world. True or false? True, false? Some trues, some falses. Okay, so they can't be found in a few places. Antarctica, you can't find them there. And there's some islands which include Iceland and Greenland. That surprised me. That hadn't occurred to me. They might not be there. Final one. A myrmecologist is someone who studies ants. True or false? Oh, lots of people aren't answering. They've got bored. It's true. So there you go. You've all become a bit like a myrmecologist this morning because you've learned a lot more about ants. So you now can call yourself a myrmecologist. Just a few more things about ants. So this surprised me, actually. I didn't know this. Ants can be really minuscule, or they can be up to 1 inch in length. That was a lot longer than I thought. They're very social creatures, so they live with others. They live in colonies and families, and they tend to live in nests that can be located in trees, underground, or sometimes in a mound that they've built. And the ants that you are most likely to see are worker ants, because they are the ones that go out and forage for food and work on the outside of the nest and build it up, and they also protect their community. So let's go back to the verse. Which says, "Go watch the ants, you lazy person, watch what they do and be wise. Ants have no commander, no leader or ruler, but they store up food in the summer and gather their supplies at harvest." So the first thing we can learn about this from this verse is it implies that ants are wise. It says that they are wise. And what is it that they're doing that's wise? Storing up food. So when there's provision, when there's a harvest, they are storing it up. They are taking it back to their nests. In those 2 stomachs they have, they'll be eating some and they're taking the rest back and also carrying it back as well. Well, it said that they can carry, like we said before, that they can carry 50 times their body weight. They carry it back to their nest and they store it there for the times when it's maybe winter or they can't get out of their nest. And we're going to watch a video that is taken from an hour-long documentary called The Incredible Life of Ants by David Attenborough. We're not going to watch the whole thing. It's all right. We're only going to watch 1.5 minutes. But if you really like it, there's a whole hour-long documentary you can watch. Looks nice food, doesn't it? Bit crab. Yeah, so that was just to explain a little bit more on that point. So they like there, where I'm guessing when they built their nest, they probably didn't realise that the water goes up or down, but once they realised, then they made sure that it was waterproof and watertight for when those times came that the water rose, and that they had enough food like then. So they're all out looking for the food so that they can take it back in again, so that they've got it for the next time those waters come above their nest level. So, what can we take away from the Bible verse? I'll just get Nathan to put it up again. I think the main point it's making is that it's important and wise to prepare. And I don't know what you're like when it comes to preparation. I'm somebody who probably over-prepares for some things. Not everything, but take packing for a holiday. I will definitely pack for all weathers, even if I know I'm going to a really hot place. You know, it might rain, it could snow. So I will have that stuff with me just in case. I will always overpack. That's just the way I am. But I don't think this verse is talking about kind of that preparation. And I also don't think it's telling you that you should store up lots of food in your house just in case. You don't need to go out and buy lots of tins of food just in case, like the ants, there's, I don't know, something that happens. I don't think it's saying that. I think actually it's talking about a different type of preparation. I think it's talking to us as Christians, and it's saying that it's important for Christians to prepare, but just as the ants store the food from the summer, for us, it's about preparing our own store for when times get difficult. for when times get a bit harder and a bit of a struggle, and instead of storing food to eat, I think we're almost storing food for our souls, so that we have something to draw on when we're struggling. And I think that food comes from praying, spending time with God, studying our Bibles, worshipping, spending time with other Christians, coming to church, so that when the hard times hit, we have a bank of resources to kind of work off, and we turn to God in those times, rather than away from God. When we look at the Bible, there are quite a few examples of people and stories about preparation. And I'm just going to mention a few. So we had David, who was a shepherd for years. And in that time, we know that he worshipped God, and he praised him, and he sang songs. And he mentions that he fought off a lion and a bear. And when it comes to Goliath insulting the Israelites, David speaks to the king and says this: "Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear. This uncircumcised Philistine, Goliath, will be like one of them, because he has defied the armies of the living God. The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine." David spent time, whether he realized it or not, preparing on that hillside. God prepared him for this moment and for further on in his life. But David knew that he believed that God would protect him, that God would rescue him from Goliath. And also notice that he's not impressed that Goliath is defying the armies of God. When you read that story, actually you realize that David is the only one who goes, wait a minute, we're God's people, and he is insulting our God, and he has no right to. We then have Paul. So after Paul's miraculous conversion on the road to Damascus, he takes a bit of time. Because as a Jew that he was before his conversion, he will have known the Old Testament and the laws inside out. I mean, he preached on them, he knew about them. But actually, after his conversion, he then spent time allowing God to reveal Jesus to him. And through that revelation, to make sense, kind of new sense of all that old teaching that he'd got. So that then when he went out and he preached, God was speaking through him. But he needed that time to prepare. And he took it. And that preparation meant that he shared with many people by preaching, and also we have his letters in the Bible. That's what that preparation led to. And then there's some parables. I know Roger's not around at the moment, but talk to Roger. We have lots of books available in our church library that you're very welcome to come and lend. But there's also lots of other things that are good too. There are good podcasts and things like that that help as well. And for their children here, it might be that actually sometimes you have to choose to pick up a Bible story to read instead of your favourite other story. Maybe that would help you. If praying is difficult, it might be that the thing you really need to do is find a good time to pray. I know that some of our young people have started getting up a bit earlier so that they can pray before they go to school. And take that time to study their Bible and do a bit of prayer. Finding a time to pray is really important, but also finding a time to pray with others. So we do have prayer triplets at church, and if you're not in one and you would like to join one, again, talk to Paul, and he'll point you in the right direction. One of the things that I'm getting better at, I used to do it quite a lot before I had children. I worked for NISCU, which is an organisation which goes around to schools, and I used to put worship music on my car regularly, and I just used to pray and worship as I drove along. I don't do as much driving anymore, so something I've had to do is look at where actually I'm spending time outside of church worshipping and singing and things like that and praising God. And for me, that time has become cleaning the house, putting on some music whilst I clean the house and praising God through that. But maybe it's something you need to do is just find that time, is actually listening to some music that will help you praise and lift up God's name. Or maybe it's the community part that you struggle with. As I said before, prayer triplets are fabulous, but also we've got some small groups, and you could join one of those if you're not already part of one. And again, talk to Paul or Roger, or email and ask about them and find out how you can join those. If there is something that you've thought today, I really need to work on that, it would be worth talking to somebody else about it, asking them to pray with you about it, but also asking them to check in with you about it. Because actually, somebody checking in and checking how you're doing is really helpful. The final thing I want to mention is the learning Bible verses being a helpful tool. I'm going to challenge you today to learn a Bible verse. Somebody said to me today, have you got lots of sweets for the preach? And I went, no. However, on your way out, you're going to be given a card with a Bible verse on. There's an easier one for the children and a harder one for the adults. I'm going to be here next Sunday with sweets and chocolates. If you can come and tell me it, you can have one. That's my challenge. So the verse you're going to learn is one that I think is a really good verse to learn and is really helpful when we're struggling. And the verse is, God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, and the mountains quake with their surging. And it's from Psalm 46, and it's verse 1 to 3, but if you're a child, you just get to learn the first bit, which is God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. That doesn't seem too hard, does it, Molly? No. But if you can learn the long one, I might give you double sweets and chocolate. Just saying. Does that sound good? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to leave it there, but I just wanted to add something, because what was really helpful beforehand was Tim shared that parable that Paul asked him to read out, and then Sheila talked about the things, so trusting in God's word and learning more about God's word. And I just wanted to point that out, because I think it's really good that God brings everything together in the sermon and in the church service. It's always really good to know that he's in control and he's got this, and he's leading it.
Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything round me shaken. I've never been more glad, 'cause I put my faith in Jesus, 'cause he's never let me down. He's faithful through generations, so why should he fail now? He won't. Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything round me is shaken. I've never been more glad that I put my faith in Jesus. He's never let me down. He's faithful through generations, so why should he fail now? He won't. I've still got joy in chaos. I've got peace that makes no sense, so I won't be going under. I'm not held by my own strength, 'cause I built my life on Jesus. He's never let me down. He's faithful in every season, so why should he fail now? won't fail. He won't fail. He won't. But my house was built on you, and I'm safe with you, and I'm gonna make it through. But my house was built on you, and I'm safe with you, and I'm gonna make it through, and I'm gonna make it through. Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand.